passing in front of these cameras. Stay sharp, Marines.
This year I had the pleasure of playing few great games, and Aliens Dark Descent is definitely one of them. However, this game, unlike the others, has a potential to become a cruel game. Let me explain. If you go into this blind, and that is what I recommend, even on normal difficulty you will be faced with a great challenge. It is hard. If you're not prepared, the aliens will rip you apart. And if you are playing for the first time, you won't be ready. As the game is not made in a way which simplifies things to shoot your way through the aliens. It isn't that simple. And if you won't learn that the guns aren't always the solution, the game will become incredibly hard really fast. But to become a cruel game, we are missing one more thing. The thing and the idea is best described in a video named appropriately The Cruelest Video Game. By the way, this is an amazing video and you should definitely watch it. Considering the views, you probably already did. And the creator of this video described it the best. For a game to become cruel, it has to be hard, but also punishing. And Aliens Dark Descent punishes you in multiple ways. We already know that Aliens Dark Descent is hard. Let's say your Marines get caught off guard. Imagine the nasty things that happen to them. Let's wrap it up. Not a nice way to go out. Like this. Pretty nasty. And now as a player you receive the punishment that you just witnessed one of your favorite Marines to be clobbered to death. With who, by the way, you already bonded with because you send them on multiple deployments. But also, now the rest of your team is depressed. Very nice. No, I mean really, because the more your team engages with the aliens, the more stressed they get. And it doesn't even matter if they get injured or not. They see those things and they get pretty sad. Not that I blame them. That means also that you get penalized as a player because the more traumatized your team gets, the more negative traits they will inhabit. And by the way, this is very tasty. You get your own psychiatric care unit. For your poor guys, look at it, lovely scenery. They have a green forest, hopefully not the forest from Gen V. But now honestly, in my last campaign, we cannot put anyone in the unit, as this one guy has a special trait that doesn't allow him to get the help. And the rest, if you do a good job, you know, they don't need the help. But also, if nobody's coming back from the deployment, there's nothing to treat, right? But for the rest, you know, you have the medbay. If you got scratched a bit or an acid was poured on you, soon you will be able to be scratched once again. Sign now for Colonial Marines. And there's more. There is a day mechanic in this game. In each day you have selected amount of things you can do. One deployment, your doctor can only attend few people, etc. And if you're out of things to do in that day, well, you have to skip it. Here is where more punishment appears. Each day you pass, the infestation increases, meaning more aliens. And now for the biggest punishments of this game, which directly correlates to the main gameplay loop. If you shoot and fight the aliens, a meter in the top right corner of your screen will increase. The more this meter increases, the more aggressive the aliens will become. And let's say there are certain milestones that if you reach, not nice things happen. If you're not prepared, it's game over.
Mine's activated. Move!
And it's even more punishing than that, as there's one mechanic that I don't really like with this thing. The meter will still fill even after end of the engagement. Let's say there's a certain amount of village that it will get filled. There's nothing you can do with it. The only way you can stop it is to weld yourself in. Not always usable. During that time you can fight any xenomorph you can find. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes one annoying thing happens. Just as the timer runs out, another alien finds you, which will reset the cooldown. Therefore, each deployment you have a certain amount of engagements you can have before things get really hard. Here in this game you are discouraged from engaging in combat. You want to limit your direct confrontation to the least amount possible. And again, here's the big difference between other games. To prevent the aliens from becoming too aggressive, you cannot engage them too often. Of course, firstly you can sneak around and it will work, but after some time, especially if you get to the harder missions, it becomes nearly impossible to just sneak around. But what is great about this game, it gives you more tools to deal with the situation. Do not get detected so my butthole stays intact. Let's focus on the first one. In this game you have 5 classes. After some times when your Marines level up, you can choose one of these. Now we will focus on the Recon class. You have to understand this first. Any direct confrontation with the aliens will cause the aggressiveness to go up. But the Recon class has one exception. When you can engage the aliens with your Marines and still not get detected. Firstly, in the workshop you have to craft a sniper rifle. This weapon can be only only used by a recon class, and you can buy an upgrade, a silencer, which will at the end allow you to take out your enemies long range, but most importantly, silently. You don't automatically fire it. To take a shot from the sniper rifle, you have to use a special point. Of course, if you have enough of them and you know you won't be engaging the enemy really soon, you can really go full hitman mode and quick scope your enemies. For your playthrough, it is recommended to have at least the recon as soon as possible, and always bring one to your deployment. So you are telling me you don't like the sneaky way? You can also take the car, the transport that gets you into the deployment, and just run things over and shoot them throughout the way. And the best thing is, you won't get detected. Yes, you heard me correctly. You can obliterate the aliens using the transport without them getting pissed off at you and increasing the aggressiveness. In this game, the aliens don't view it as an act of aggression towards them. It is a natural cause of way they perished. But at the end, it's just a mechanic, because you don't control the car always, and if it would increase the aggressiveness of the aliens, it would be pretty punishing and unfair. Doesn't mean you cannot use it to your advantage. What's even better, this also counts for mines, so if you equip the mine, place it on the ground, and the alien will run over it, the aggressiveness doesn't go up. This also goes for the automatic turrets. If it engages the aliens and it shreds them to pieces, you're also fine. And now let's talk about, in my opinion, a genius item. At the beginning of the game, you will get a quest to place a motion tracker. You will place it next to an alien den. In the vicinity of this handy little thing, you will get to track any movement. Pretty much the beeping sound from the alien. And of course, knowing where your enemies are will make it much more easier to sneak around. But the greatness of these items comes from how you will use it throughout the game. Firstly, you will just use it as a motion track, but eventually there will be so many dangerous aliens over the whole map. You will need to use its second ability. When you open your map and click on the motion tracker, for a short period of time, you can make it self-destruct. During this time, it will create a loud sound, which will attract aliens from far, far away. And in this way, you can drag them into one specific location. When you're getting surrounded and there's no way to escape, or when you want to lay a trap, this is a perfect way to do it. At the end of the campaign, this will be the most useful item in your arsenal. And on the hardest difficulties, in my opinion, you cannot even go without using this item. And if you haven't thought of it already, I think you did, you can take the second option and the third one. You can couple the motion sensors with the cars, mines, and the turrets. For a quick example, just put it next to the car. Open the map, click on it, sound throughout the map. Aliens close by will rush towards it, and the car will handle the rest. And the best part is, as it wasn't done by your marines, the aggressiveness level doesn't go up. In any other game, I would call it exploiting the game. But here, when you have such a limited amount of ammunition, for example, and the enemies are so hard and also punishing, this is another way to use what was given to you. But now what? You snuck around, but it wasn't enough. You still engaged the aliens, and you made them really angry. Now they are coming from a butthole from everywhere, and you cannot really hide. You have just few seconds to make a defensive stance. And I mean really few seconds. Put the defensive turrets down, throw the flares, prepare suppressive fire, and get yourself into good position, because there's no way you will survive if they're coming in front of you and even from the behind. Hopefully you prepared and pissed them off at the right time. And now the carnage ensues. Bullets flying everywhere, alarms going off, aliens running at your positions. It is actually really entertaining to watch it. It is a spectacle, because this game, if you haven't noticed already, is beautiful. What makes it even better that each of these aliens, you know, can do a serious damage. And now you're just plowing through tens of them. But you have to be careful. If any of them gets through, it is over. Of course, depending on the difficulty, but even in the lower ones, it doesn't take a long time. I must say, this is an exciting gameplay. The whole game you're sneaking around, using the tactics so you don't piss off the aliens. But at the end, sometimes it is unavoidable. You will make your mistakes, and then the excitement will burst in one big defensive stance against the alien. Sadly, there is one huge issue with it. This game isn't that short. It took me around 25 hours to finish it. The thing is, the first 10 to 15 hours is super exciting. You're slowly learning these new tactics, and you are rewarding with exploring the maps, finding these new ways how to deal with the threats, and so on. But after those 10 to 15 hours, you will start to notice that you are using the same tactics over and over again. You will sneak around the map. You will take out the aliens with a sniper rifle quietly. And then when you get cornered and you want to take out a lot of enemies, you will use and activate the motion sensor. Everything will go to it. Best way I do it, I'll just stack like 4 of them next to the car and like let the thing go off. And after that, if there's no other way, I will just make a defensive stance, which is pretty epic, and shoot my way through the hordes of aliens. But sadly, after the 10 to 15 hour mark, you will do this over and over and over and over again, and it does get repetitive. And I mean, there's nothing that changes the way you play the game towards the end. The best part of this game is going through the beginning to the middle of the game, as you are constantly evolving your gameplay, and it is exciting. I just wish at the end there would be something that would throw you off. For example, using the motion trackers. Some enemy that would be extremely aggressive if it would hear the sound, and it would throw you off the rails, meaning you would have to come up with another plan, which would make it again exciting, or maybe reveal some new way to deal with the enemies more effectively, as the old ways you learn at the beginning would be inefficient. And if you found out that the game got too easy at the end, well, what about New Game Plus? You will retain your marines from previous save, but you can change the difficulty, push every bar to the top. But if you want to really increase the difficulty, increase the base attack damage of the aliens, pretty much one-shotting any new recruit. Remember when you were careful and saving every day so the infestation wouldn't increase? Let's start on the max settings. Now everything we talked about will be pushed to the next step for a really cruel experience. And by the way, long time no see. Yes, working at a job takes your time. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time, hopefully sooner than 6 months, maybe? Bye bye and take care.